from the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, everyone, I'm back. I want to give out a special shout out. All right. It's Monday, October 18th, 2021. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't been with you guys since Wednesday morning of last week. A big shout out to James McQuiggan for filling in for me on such a short notice. I'd spoken to James before, but he was quick to jump on the playing field and just take over. And I watched those practitioner briefs and he killed it. Thank you so much to Mr. McQuiggan. You were absolutely amazing. Well, I am back. I'm back, and we've got a few stories to talk about today, but the big one, I became a father. Yes. On Wednesday night at 11:31 p.m., our little son made his first appearance into this awesome planet and awesome globe in the greatest country on planet Earth. Baby and mom are doing absolutely magnificent. My wife is a trooper, folks. Let me tell you, there is you gain an appreciation when you see what women have to go through to give birth. And my wife did an unbelievable job doing that and helping bring a awesome, cute little bundle of joy to this world that has just been the center of my existence for the last nearly 5 days. Little guy is great, magnificent, healthy, thank God. My wife's doing absolutely amazing. Thank you for everyone who messaged and all the great comments that are on here today. I really do appreciate it. We're gonna get back into the swing of things, but I did want to kick off with that. He was 8 pounds, 10 ounces, a big baby, 21.5 inches long. So a very, very cute kid, very big, but very smart, and knows what he wants and doesn't want already, which is a sign of just the great things to go on. So folks, good morning. Let's get to some of your comments. Welcome back, Dad. Thank you, Mr. Larry Rosen, the awesome and filling in James McQuiggan. Good morning. Happy Monday. Aaron, good morning. Congrats on the bundle of joy. Thank you, Jonathan. Good morning. Ready to start the Monday off. We all are. Steve with a good morning to you. I believe this is Brent. Good. My happy Monday, everyone. Congratulations on the baby. That's from Jonathan. Thank you. Chris says, welcome back and good morning. And Findlay, good morning and congratulations. Thank you all so very much. We've got a packed show today. It's Monday. While I was away, I know that cyber criminals didn't exactly take a national or international holiday, which will get us into our first story of the day. But before I do that, a special shout out to our friends over at KnowBe4, who without their support, this show would not be possible. And again, a special shout out to James McQuiggan for filling in for me. I'll be back on the saddle this week. We'll be back into normal. Today we ran just slightly behind schedule. Again, just I haven't touched any of my stuff since Tuesday. So by all means, I'm still trying to get my hands around how to navigate life in this house with a baby who is wanting everyone's attention at the moment. So we'll get to that though in just a moment. But before we do that, everything a new parent needs, everything a cybersecurity professional needs. There's a lot of combination with what I've gone through over the last 5 days. Sleepless nights, constant concern, rolling in bed. If you're a CISO and you love your job, it's pretty much what you do. And the best way to fuel those restless nights is with coffee. Mine is a double espresso. What are you drinking this morning? Please let me know in the comments. This is my extra bold, extra strong roast. It's very, very strong. It's very potent. So I absolutely enjoy it, folks. Coffee cup cheers. Now we can start our practitioner brief. Let's get right into it. The U.S. is linking $5.2 billion worth of Bitcoin transactions to ransomware. This, according to a report by the U.S. Treasury Department of Financial Crime Enforcement Network, that's called FinCEN, has identified roughly $5.2 billion worth of outgoing Bitcoin transactions, likely tied to the top 10 most commonly reported ransomware variants. FinCEN identified 177 CVC, convertible virtual currency wallet addresses used for ransomware-related payments after analyzing 2,184 SARs, which are suspicious activity reports filed between January 1st, 2011 and January 30th, 2021, reflecting $1.56 billion in suspicious activities. And they said crime doesn't pay. Based on the blockchain analysis of transaction tied to the 177 CVC wallets, FinCEN identified roughly 5.2 billion in outgoing Bitcoin transactions potentially tied to ransomware payments. FinCEN also linked these transactions to a total of $590 million exposed by 458 transactions reported and 635 SARs filed by financial institutions this year alone. That's between January of 2021 and June of 2021. According to the data generated from ransomware-related SARs, the mean average total monthly suspicion amount of ransomware transactions was 66.4 million, and the median average was 45 million. This is significant because if you take a look at how these actually break down, you can see the different variants and the amount of money every single variant makes. With, if you take an exception right here and you take a look, there's two variants, variant 5, which equals 241.6 million in I believe Bitcoins, according to this chart. And we know that Treasury is trying to crack down on these Bitcoin and ransomware operators, but they're targeting the currency and not the facilitators, which is something very, very interesting to me. There's obviously, I think there's an ulterior motive to just constantly target Bitcoin, but nonetheless, 5.2 billion is what they saw, which leads me to believe this number is more like 50. Simply because I don't think that the expertise that's completely needed in Treasury does exist to identify this. Something to take into account when quantifying your risk in your organization, number one. Number two, does your org have any Bitcoins stored anywhere? Have you had that conversation with your CFO? Have you run a tabletop on ransomware where you're being asked to pay 20 Bitcoins? And do you know how long it would take you and what you need to do to get those? If you haven't done that exercise, this would be a great time to do it. Not because I encourage you to pay the ransom, not because it's something you should, for whatever for whatever reason, not get a grasp on it. But this is significant because you want to have your business ready to deal with this. And if you haven't done this already, then this is one great exercise, by the way, to win business folks over on the cyber side. Hey, do we have Bitcoin? No, why not? Why aren't we storing Bitcoin? Do we have cold storage? Do we know what it would take to buy Bitcoin? Do we know if our intercompany bylaws would allow us to do that? All that good stuff is all part of it, and it's all significant. Which continues on another story where 30 countries have pledged to fight a ransomware attack in a U.S.-led global meeting. Of this, it was the representatives of the U.S., the 28 EU nations, and 30 other countries that have pledged to mitigate the risk of ransomware and hardened financial systems. You know, if Russia and China aren't at this table, and Iran, then by all means, that's great. But, we're all sitting here and talking about it. And meanwhile, here are the countries that were represented in this one: Australia, Brazil, Bulgaria, Canada, Czech Republic, the Dominican Republic, Estonia, the EU, France, Germany, India, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Kenya, Lithuania, Mexico, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nigeria, Poland, Korea, Romania, Singapore, South Africa, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine, the UAE, UK, and the US. Obviously, we all know who's missing: China and Russia. So where are they in this conversation, and how do you stop cybersecurity threats if you're not targeting the countries where it originates from and they're not part of the conversation? Very, very interesting. But we'll see if anything comes out of this outside of them giving out a bunch of recommendations, by the way, folks, that are just, basic. So adopting cyber hygiene good practices. And then they go on to say, like strong passwords. Okay, securing accounts with MFA. All right. Periodic offline data backups. Okay, keeping software up to date. all right, and offering training. Again, all of those, very, very, very important, need to be done. But how do you do it? Because when you tell a business, a small or mid-sized company, that doesn't have all the resources, you should do periodic offline data backups. What do you think that means to them? If I walked down the street, or I went into a high-rise office building, and I walked into some of these businesses and I said, what does offline data backup mean to you? What do you think the answer would be? Would I get the same answer from everyone or different answers? Different answers all the time. So keep that in mind. And finally, we'll move to our final story today, where Chinese security researchers took home $1.8 million after hacking some of the world's most popular software at a Tianfu count, the country's largest and most prestigious hacking competition. The contest took place over the weekend in Shengdao and was won by researchers from Chinese security firm Quanlon Lab, who took home $654,500 of the prize money. The competition, now in its fourth edition, took place using the classic rules established by Pawn to Own hacking contest. Researchers had 35 minutes attempts to run their exploits, and they could register to hack multiple devices if they wish to increase their winning. And you can tell Chrome, Safari, Adobe PDF, Docker, and Ubuntu all part of this. Microsoft Exchange servers were a big one as well. So was the iPhone 12 Pro, and the list keeps going, folks. So Windows 10 was hacked 5 times, Adobe 4 times, Ubuntu 24 times, Parallel VMs 3 times, iOS 15 3, Safari 2. You can see all of this. The skill that comes out of there is absolutely unbelievable, and something to keep our eyes on, because these security researchers that are in China that are part of our community are no longer allowed, based on a new Chinese law, to report any exploits or vulnerabilities they find to the organization, but rather they first need to report it to the Chinese government cybersecurity task force. They could face a jail time and fines, as well as a reduced social credit score if they do try to help the organization, unless the organization is, folks, Chinese-based. Meaning if it's a Chinese company and you find a vulnerability to a Chinese company, you get to report it to both simultaneously. If it's a foreign organization, then that's a whole different story. And that's that. Folks, that's it for our practitioner brief today. Tomorrow we'll be back on time, ready to go. Tuesday morning, we'll be kicking it with an awesome practitioner brief, and I know there'll be a lot more to talk about. Thank you, everyone, for your good wishes. Thank you, everyone, for being here with me this morning. And like I said, we'll be back again tomorrow. Please make sure to subscribe. Tell your friends and family about this show, and as well as your colleagues. And please share it and thumbs up. Till next time, have a great rest of your day. Stay cyber safe. See you tomorrow, folks. Cheers.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.